On April the 7th, 2013, the wrestling world witnessed an epic clash that will go down in history as one of the most iconic rivalries of all time. In a sold-out MetLife Stadium, we had The Rock, the People's Champion, and a Hollywood superstar. And standing opposite him in the ring, we had John Cena, the embodiment of hustle, loyalty, and respect. And each man represented a different era in WWE that many fans had grown up watching and idolizing. And their year-long battle to the match was emotionally charged, with intense promos and verbal battles that had many on the edge of their seats. Essentially, it was the Attitude Era versus the Ruthless Aggression one, and at WrestleMania 29, the stage was set for an epic rematch that will determine once and for all who the true champion was. And join us as we relive the drama, the emotion, and the electrifying moments that define the rivalry between The Rock and John Cena. But before we begin, we first have to look back at how these two wrestlers rose up the ranks of WWE and became the superstars they are today. At the turn of the millennium, WWE was expanding its reach and gaining popularity thanks to a successful creative shift in programming known as the Attitude Era. And at the forefront of this movement was The Rock, who ascended quickly through the ranks of WWE and became the face of the company with Stone Cold. And WWE was quick to capitalize on his popularity, and it showed at the time, whether it be the merch, TV appearances, or even using his catchphrases to market their video games. The Rock was everywhere. However, with all the promotion and mainstream press, it meant that the allure of becoming a movie star was on the horizon. And for us the viewers, it meant that his final match came at WrestleMania 20, where he and Mick Foley lost to Evolution in a 3-on-2 handicap match. And what also transpired was that The Rock's contract with the company was ending in 2004, and it was clear that WWE was in dire need of a superstar who could easily carry the company on their backs for the next 10 years, since both The Rock and Stone Cold were leaving the company, marking an end to the Attitude Era. And this meant the top spot was left wide open. WWE could have easily gone with Batista or Randy Orton, but they chose a superstar who was clearly getting strong reactions from the crowd and had an insane amount of charisma. Enter John Cena.
We kind of were ships passing in the night. When he was moving on to Hollywood, I was starting out as a spry young upstart.
In the absence of The Rock, there wasn't that one guy who was the face of WWE. Through his hard work and his desire to be that and his dedication, John Cena became that.
So while Cena had a shaky start, he quickly got things on track with his Dr. Thugonomics gimmick, and seizing the opportunity, within 3 years, Cena managed to capture the WWE title at WrestleMania 21. And with the success of becoming the new face of the company, meant more opportunities. And similar to The Rock, WWE capitalized on his momentum by giving him a starring role in The Marine and other WWE projects. So while the movie itself is average at best, fans and critics around the world were quick to make the comparison between The Rock and John Cena. I would say Dean Ambrose said it best when comparing the two.
John Cena will always unfairly be compared to The Rock. So no matter how hard he works, or no matter how many pay-per-views he made events, no matter how many millions of fans he has, he's still gonna have that, no, you're not The Rock. That's gotta bug him, I would think.
However, it wasn't until 2008 that the first bit of heat between these two stars started to grow. Cena at one point didn't appreciate the fact that The Rock left the company to pursue a career in Hollywood when the company could have used his star power. In an interview with The Sun in 2008, John shared his feelings on the Great One. He appreciated The Rock's decision to become an actor, but he simply hated the fact that The Rock chose acting over something he claimed that he loved more than anything else, which is professional wrestling.
Don't around and tell me that you love this when you're just doing this to do something else. That's the only thing that really gets me pissed off.
However, The Rock remained professional about the situation, but he did take a comical dig at John Cena when inducting his father and grandfather in the Hall of Fame in 2008. And this provided the first hint that these two will face each other in the near future, as The Rock let everyone know in his speech that he would like to face John Cena if he was still wrestling.
Unfortunately, though, there was some trouble this year. You know, there was big controversy with the WWE and illegal torture. Apparently, they would find Iraqi insurgents, they'd sit them down, they'd tie them up, and they'd make them watch copies of the DVD, The Marine.
It's about to go down.
I do want to make mention really quickly, there's 3 guys who I've always wanted to wrestle. One of them was John Cena. I've never had the chance to wrestle him. That would be a great match. It would be a great match.
This rivalry was cooking for 7 years, and it's now February 2011, and WWE begin hyping up the arrival of the host of WrestleMania 27. So on the February 14th edition of Raw, The Rock came out to one of the biggest pops ever and announced that he'll be hosting WrestleMania this year. However, it wasn't just the announcement that got people talking, it was the fact that The Rock called out and mocked John Cena in his promo. The Rock criticized John's appearance and his "you can't see me" catchphrase, and went a step further in calling John a bowl of Fruity Pebbles, and the fans loved him for it.
The WWE has gone from the powerful Austin 316 to the dominant and iconic "can you smell what The Rock is cooking?" all the way to "you can't see me, you can't see me." What are you playing, peekaboo? How the hell you think we can miss? You come out here with your bright ass purple shirt, and before that your bright green shirt, before that your bright orange shirt. You run around here looking like a big fat bowl of Fruity Pebbles.
And John Cena was well into his Superman phase at this point, the ultimate babyface. But here comes The Rock, returning with his charismatic persona, bringing him down from his pedestals, just like the fans have been waiting for. And as a result of the promo, speculation began with regarding WWE giving them a long-awaited dream match between John and The Rock at WrestleMania that year. But there was a little catch. This rivalry was just too damn big and epic for a 2-month program. WWE was definitely going to milk this rivalry for as much as possible. So after winning the Elimination Chamber match and becoming the #1 contender for the Miz's WWE Championship, John began focusing on the A-lister. But he was also going after The Rock after the Great One demolished John when he returned to the company. So on the Raw after the Elimination pay-per-view, John called out The Rock and blasted him over leaving the company when it needed him the most. The style of John's promo was reminiscent of his Dr. Falconomics days, and this was nothing but excellent television.
Finally, The Rock came back and everyone was getting with it. Till he said I was talking trash, but he would never be specific. It's because I wasn't talking trash, Rock. I was talking truth. You left us hanging high and dry to play a fairy with a tooth?
If you don't get that bullshit out of my face, bitch.
It should be pointed out that The Miz suffered the most in this entire angle. Despite being in the main event of WrestleMania with John Cena, the company decided to focus on the potential match between John and The Rock. And it wasn't The Miz's fault. The company also shouldn't get blamed, as the fans were more interested in seeing a segment that featured John and The Rock together. And things got so tense between the two that on the Raw Go Home show, John delivered an AA to The Rock. So at WrestleMania, The Rock cost John his match against The Miz when both men were initially counted out. He restarted the match with his host powers and then delivered a rock bottom to allow Miz to get the 3 count. And from that point on, it was clear The Rock versus John Cena was a matter of when and not if. So on the Raw after WrestleMania, John and The Rock came face to face one more time. This time, things got serious. They acknowledged the fact that their match didn't seem like a possibility a year ago, but it does seem like one now. It was being billed as once in a lifetime. These are the words that the two biggest stars in the company's history used to hype their potential bout.
There are people standing in the ceiling, not because they want us to talk, because they want a match, and not just a match. These people know what match. A match where generations collide.
But The Rock says we make history. The Rock says we do something that's never been done before. On the grandest stage in the world, WrestleMania 28, John Cena versus The Rock.
They also made it clear that this match would be bigger than anything else, and it would be fitting that it takes place at the grandest stage of them all. So for the first time ever, WWE announced the main event of WrestleMania a year in advance, and we were all in for it. The Rock versus John Cena, a dream match that was about to become reality in 2012. And many fans, and myself included, thought that this feud would run out of steam in 1 year, but WWE played their cards perfectly. So before WrestleMania 28, John got one of his best feuds of all time with CM Punk, and by the time WWE reached Survivor Series in 2011, they resumed the rivalry between John and The Rock, albeit in a very unique manner. Can they coexist? That's what good old Vince used to say. The team of The Miz and R-Truth began causing havoc in all of WWE, with them even costing John Cena a WWE Championship match at one point against Alberto Del Rio. So leading up to Survivor Series, John was allowed to choose any partner he wanted for the tag team match against The Miz and R-Truth. And knowing that the pay-per-view was going to take place in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden, John knew that his tag partner had to be a big one. Eventually, The Rock was chosen by John Cena, and the anticipation for a bland tag match was now growing twofold. And the crowd at the event made the match even better, with them cheering for The Rock over John Cena, and this is easily arguably one of the biggest pops in WWE history for a casual tag match. But considering The Rock hasn't been in the ring for 7 years, as the match started, all doubts were thrown away as The Rock brought his A game. He showed no signs of ring rust and the duo won the match, and towards the end, The Rock ended up giving a rock bottom to John to close the show. If this match told us anything, is that The Rock still has the talent and that this WrestleMania was going to be the biggest one in WWE history yet. And this leads us to 2012. Things were going to get even sweeter as the proper build begins. After finishing up a lackluster feud with Kane, John turned his attention to the Brahma Bull, and this time there was no other superstars involved in the mix. It was just Cena and The Rock, the two greatest talkers in the history of the business, building up a dream match for the ages. And both of them didn't hold anything back when it comes to their promos.
Understand this, you strip away WrestleMania, you strip away the glitz, the glamour, Hollywood, the movies, the fame, you strip it all away. At The Rock's core, The Rock is 6'4", 260 pounds of man that will rip your throat out.
But on April 1st at WrestleMania, I'll be the guy with my hand raised high, standing over your carcass, and the headline reads what I predicted. John Cena whips The Rock's ass at WrestleMania.
And Cena will constantly remind the fans that The Rock is a sellout who only cared about himself. And some of the wrestlers in the back thought the same, and that The Rock was just taking up all the screen time in WWE. Here's what Daniel Bryan, Dean Ambrose, and Michael Cole had to say about the situation.
You're sympathetic with John Cena. Like, hey, you say you love WWE, where have you been? But when it comes time to promote a movie, oh yeah, you'll be here.
The Rock got a lot of resentment in the locker room because even though he's one of the biggest stars in the history of sports entertainment, because the feeling is, how do you make any new Rocks and new Cenas when Rock just walks in and hogs up all the TV time? So there was a lot of resentment toward The Rock, whether anybody wants to tell you there was or not.
On the flip side of the coin, The Rock took shots at John for not revitalizing his career and having the same old gimmick for many years up until that point. This was simply excellent storytelling. While many thought that The Rock was the finest talker ever, John reminded everyone that the great one can fumble in the worst possible way. On the 27th episode of Raw, John found out that The Rock had written some of his lines of his promo on his wrist, and you can bet John was absolutely going to bring it up.
I don't need words like respect and loyalty to trend worldwide, just like I don't need my notes for my promo on my wrist.
So when John mocked The Rock for this little incident in front of the whole world, The Rock was visibly frustrated. It was segments like this that got us all on the edge of our seats. To put things into perspective, John Cena was booed at the entrance and was cheered when he left. His talent for working a crowd is superb and years ahead of anyone else. This is the reason why this rivalry was reaching its all-time peak, and he genuinely had The Rock shaking in his boots at times.
Now you confuse the world, you don't like The Rock, you like Dwayne Johnson, hate Dwayne Johnson, what you go, is that what I'm gonna do on the biggest stage of WrestleMania, the biggest match of all time.
For the first time in the illustrious career of The Rock, he was shook up. He was stumbling on his words like he was left out in the middle of winter. Dwayne, Rock, same person.
So as time went by, John Cena and The Rock gave fans more reason to order the WrestleMania pay-per-view. On the March 12th episode of Raw, John came out as the Dr. Thugonomics, and he gave a verbal smackdown towards The Rock.
And after April 1st, you won't be making no more movies. You gonna need surgery on your face just like you had it on your boobies.
However, The Rock wasn't going to spare John either. On the same night, The Rock gave the Cleveland, Ohio the time of their lives when The Rock performed a live mini concert. The Rock sang about John, and it was hilarious.
Little fruity pebble from Newberry, Mass. Rock will take his boot and shove it up his ass.
All in all, the feud was building up beautifully, and by the time we got to WrestleMania, the stakes are high. And WrestleMania 28 had a great card. From The Undertaker versus Triple H to CM Punk versus Chris Jericho, every match had the potential to be good, but the only match that fans cared about and even ordered the pay-per-view for just to see this match alone was the Cena versus Rock. And it was a no-brainer that they both got fancy entrances with live music, but when they did end up coming face to face, it was special. So this was it. The entire crowd was on their feet and extremely loud, even though both men and haven't even hit each other yet. It had a big match feel that most matches lack these days. The match wasn't going to be a technical one, with both John and Rock known for having matches that involve hitting finishers after finishers, but this match needed that tried and tested method, a method that has worked wonders for both men's careers. The crowd came unglued for every near fall, and when The Rock kicked out of a second AA, John couldn't believe it. He resorted to using The Rock's finisher against himself, and it ended up costing John, as The Rock managed to recover, give a rock bottom, and then pin him for the 3 count. The entire city of Miami rejoiced, and John was left in a state of disbelief while sitting on the ramp watching his rival revel in his victory. On the Raw after WrestleMania, The Rock came out and thanked the fans for the success of the entire event. However, he would let everyone know that he had plans on continuing his wrestling career, and that he'll be doing so by winning the WWE Championship in the near future. This alone was enough to let everyone know that WWE was planning a second match between John and The Rock, despite the first encounter being billed as once in a lifetime. And it made all the sense considering the first match brought in so much revenue for the company. So 2012 was all about John and him battling his failures. His loss to The Rock shattered his confidence to the point where he lost multiple matches against the likes of CM Punk, Dolph Ziggler, and even John Laurinaitis. Additionally, he became the first ever superstar to cash in his Money in the Bank contract and not win the World Championship. So all in all, 2012 was just not a good year for John Cena, and I believe this is also the time he was going through his divorce, which WWE also included in the storyline. And as for The Rock, he returned to television on the 1000th episode of Raw when he interrupted the wedding ceremony of Daniel Bryan and AJ Lee. The Rock immediately let everyone know that he'll be challenging for the WWE Championship at the 2013 Royal Rumble pay-per-view. The build-up to the second part of this epic rivalry would have fallen flat on its face if it wasn't for CM Punk. He helped in taking this feud a step further by turning heel and attacking The Rock on the 1000th episode of Raw. Plus, we also got to see CM Punk and Paul Heyman back together because of this. This also led to the arrival of The Shield, who helped CM Punk retain his WWE Championship on multiple occasions. Essentially, CM Punk was the supporting superstar that WWE needed to carry this feud on his back for the entirety of 2012. And the promos that The Rock and CM Punk were cutting at one another were always going to be amazing.
You had any respect for yourself, for your father, for your grandfather, you would walk down this aisle. You would come up to me right now and you would say, "Sir, Mr. Punk, here is your title back because I did not earn this."
You would walk down that ramp and come and take it. The Rock is gonna kick your candy ass at Royal Rumble.
Before 2013 could begin, John promised a change, and he promised to seek redemption, and he began his road to redemption by winning the Royal Rumble match in 2013, and on the same night, The Rock defeated CM Punk to win the WWE Championship despite The Shield helping Punk at one point. So the stage was set once again, John Cena versus The Rock 2 at WrestleMania 29. However, CM Punk wasn't going to let the two get away with it that easily. He and John had a match on February 25th edition of Raw for John's opportunity at The Rock's WWE Championship. And in a 5-star classic, John Cena defeated CM Punk to finalize the main event of WrestleMania 29.
A few minutes later.
Jesus Christ, I'm watching these matches 10 years later and it still hurts that CM Punk didn't main event WrestleMania. Before WrestleMania 29 could happen, Cena faced criticism over losing to The Rock at WrestleMania 28. However, John acknowledged his loss in the first match and how it shocked his confidence. He felt embarrassed because of the people he let down with his loss, and he promised to win everything back at WrestleMania 29. And the storyline for their rematch was simple. It was built on respect and a mutual desire to be the best, with both men acknowledging each other's immense talent and determination.
I know what this means to you. I know what this match means to you. I know. That's why no one in that WWE locker room has what you got. No one has your passion, your drive, your fire, your will to win, your will to succeed, your will to be great. No one has that except The Rock. John Cena, it matters to me. You ain't getting redemption, Jack. You're getting your ass kicked.
I have accomplished every single goal I have except for you. I know I am better than The Rock.
If you had me beat, you would have beaten me.
So on April 7, 2013 at the MetLife Stadium, WrestleMania 29's main event was on the way. The match itself was a classic showdown of power and resilience. Both competitors gave it their all, with The Rock relying on his signature moves like the rock bottom, while Cena utilized the AA and the STF submission hold. The action went back and forth, keeping the audience on the edge of their seats, with no man gaining an edge on the other. However, as the match went on, Cena managed to gain the upper hand and wear The Rock down. And in a repeat of their WrestleMania 28 encounter, he went for the people's elbow. And the fans held their breath knowing what happened last time. However, Cena learned from his previous mistakes and held onto the ropes. And in the end, John Cena managed to secure victory by hitting The Rock with the AA to reclaim the WWE Championship belt. And similar to Stone Cold and The Rock at WrestleMania 19, the two shared an amazing moment in the ring where they both acknowledged each other's greatness and told each other how they feel about one another.
I didn't know what he was going to say. He spoke from the heart in the middle of the ring. I spoke from my heart too, and I told him how I felt about him and how I felt about what we did tonight. And he said some really special things, and it was a cool moment.
And in my opinion, seeing them both on the top of the ramp holding each other's hand, I would say Biggie summed it up best.
Like Rock kind of passing the torch to Cena, not that he didn't already have it, but it seemed like a recognition that this is yours now.
The company knew they'll be making millions by pitting one of the greatest stars from the past against one of the greatest stars of the present. It turns out the company was right. The ratings leading up to the first encounter were very high, and the ticket sales for WrestleMania 28 were through the roof. Even as of today, WrestleMania 28 is the most purchased wrestling event in the history with 1.3 million buys. And by making 8.9 million, it's the highest grossing live event of all time. You can't really credit The Undertaker or Triple H for this. It belongs to The Rock and Cena. They built the entire storyline for a year and the result paid off. And their rivalry is revisited to this day because of the importance it holds. It was a dream match for years, and the fact that it came into existence in the first place means a lot to the company and the fans. So John solidified himself as one of the greats after the feuds, and The Rock got to main event 2 WrestleManias in front of a new audience. To put it simply, there will never be another Rock and there will never be another John Cena. So some of you might be wondering, isn't John being a hypocrite in following in the same footsteps of The Rock by going to Hollywood? Well, John owned up to his comments and has publicly stated that he was wrong and has gone on record to apologize to The Rock. And in an interview with Chris Van Vliet, he stated it all.
I say they're 100% right. From a genuine standpoint, if you're taking it for more than entertainment, I'm sorry, I was wrong and I spoke out of ignorance. When you do a movie, you are not allowed to do anything else.
John is one of those stars who owns up to his mistakes. So when him and The Rock met up again in 2023, it was a touching moment for all the fans across the world. So this, without a shadow of doubt, is the biggest storyline in the 2010s and quite possibly one of the biggest ones ever. We hope you liked the video, guys, and make sure to subscribe and give it a like, and let us know in the comment section below, were you team Cena or team The Rock?